Yuan Lin. I'm the clinic coach for this course. So in this video, I'm going to go through the result from second practice round and pointing out the things that you need to pay attention. So I have taken this course with Dr. Parnell before, and I will share some of my experience in this video as well. So before we start, I want you guys to keep in mind that the 2 practice round will not count to your grade, as Dr. Parnell mentioned. Please pay attention to all the details in the capsule. Try to learn from this 2 practice round. Find the best practice working with your teammates to get this project done. So in capstone, before we start, also I want to make an announcement that this capstone practice round will reset to starting position for the first official round on Wednesday, which is February 12th in the morning. So you should be able to begin entering decisions for the first official round on Wednesday after 5 p.m. So when you log in your account, you should see round 1 on the upper left corner when you access the decision screen as a confirmation that reset has occurred. However, if you see the round 3 instead, then the reset is pending. So during this time, if you see the round 3 and you enter any decision in there, then all your decisions will be deleted before reset. So make sure that when you log in and making decisions, it says round 1, then that means it's officially setting for the competition round. Okay, and also let's take a look of the report here. We have teams from Team Andrew to Jasper. So starting from competition round, there will be no Jasper team because this is kind of like computer generated, so there's no student in Jasper team. So in competition round, there will be no Jasper. There will be only 10 teams from Andrew to Irving. So let's get started. So let's see, in the second practice round, we see I highlighted here Team Digby and Ferris Irving are having negative ROS, ROA, and ROE. So what is ROS? ROS is return on sales. It measures how efficient a company runs, turns sales into profit. ROA is return on asset. So it measures how profit is related to the asset that you put into, the asset that you have. And ROE is return on equity. So it indicates how well a company uses investment to generate growth. So if your ROS, ROA, ROE are all negative, then you really need to take into details that do you really fully utilize the resources that you created for the company. Okay. Next is the profit. Sales. Again, sales is one of the important indicators for your company's success. It's also one of the criteria to measure your performance in capsim. And we can see in second practice round, Team Erie have the most sale, which is $229,000, and the lowest sales, the team get lowest sales is Digby. Then Team Digby, you need to pay attention to how you can generate more sales, because that's how company runs, based on how much sales you generate. This you need to pay attention. Either you will have to look more into details if your product sells well, and then what are the reasons why it doesn't sell well. Then you will go from there and to increase your sales. It's very important. Next one is the profit. And as we can see, Team Digby, Ferris, and Irving get negative profit, which is related to your negative ROS, ROA, and ROE. Then you will have to take these three teams. You have to pay extra attention to what are the things you really spend more money there, but it's not generating a lot of income. So pay attention to that. Maybe sometimes can be you have really high inventory cost that that is unnecessary due, or it can be due to low projection for your product. So we will take into details as we go along the debriefing. Next, I want to point out is SG&A sales and to sales ratio. I think I should highlight Irving as well. So right here, what is SG and what is SG? Okay, SG&A. What is SG&A? So SG&A is selling, general and administrative expenses. It's the cost that is not directly tied to making a profit, making a product. So SG&A to sales ratio is you use SG&A divide by the total sales. Then here's the ratio. So 10%. I would want to point out Team Irvine have 27.3%. That means every dollar that your company earned, you will spend on 27% will spend on SG&A. Then you may really need to look into places where you can cut some of the cost. So SG&A can include like advertisement, promotion, utilities, or those extra expenses. So maybe you are putting too much unnecessary marketing expense, things like that. So in a real business world, if there's audit going to a company, then one of the first places they will look for if the company is running efficiently, they will go to SG&A, because that's where most of the businesses get sloppy with their spendings. So for Team Baldwin did pretty good job, like you spend on spot and the ratio is a little bit low. So just when you look at the future debriefings, make sure you see if your company really spend money on the right spot. So next one, we are going to see actually sales related to market. If you have more sales, then that means what? You will have more market. Same thing is coordinated here. We can see Team Digby have the lowest sale. Then accordingly, Team Digby only got a 6.1% of the whole market, and Team Airy have the most sale. Then of course their market will be much bigger than others here. So taking domination in a market is very important. Okay. Then let's take a look of the stock and bond. The stock and bond. So stock price in real world will be influenced by many factors. So in this capsing, we can take a look of the three major thing that I want to point out is book value, EPS, and dividend. So book value is the key that measures investors' used to estimate a stock's value. So book value is the total value of company's assets minus company's outstanding liability. And EPS is earning per share. So it looks at the wealth that is being created on each share of stock. And dividend is actually the payment made by the company to its stockholder. And we can see the team Baldwin decided to give $1 dividend to the shareholder. So that's probably will be better strategy when you have surplus of your the company's sales. Then it will be better to keep your stockholders keep investing in your company. So we can see from here the stock price team Airy seems to have the highest price, which is closing price, which is $64. And then if you keep going in the right direction, it will be really good for the company's future. And then the two teams here, Team Chester and Team Ferris, have a little bit lower, stock price. And then you guys need to think about how to improve your company, and then to improve the stock price here. And next page, we will take a look at financial summary. As Dr. Panera mentioned before, inventory is one of the really key factors that may drag down your profit, because if you produce more, then you will have to it will cost more money for you to have the extra space to store those product that did not sold out. So in team Irving spent $7,000, close to $8,000 in the inventory, and that is really not good for the company's profit, because you are actually spending extra money here. And also, I want to point out the opposite side of the company, that Digby spend zero on the inventory. So it's really good that if you spend zero on the inventory, on some degree, yes, because you're not having extra cost. But at the same time, you can also think about that maybe due to your projection is not too accurate, then you sold out all the inventory, then other companies will take advantage of that. They will sell product in a certain market that, because you already sold out, you cannot really generate a lot of income from the extra product that you can sell. So sometimes that's why the right projection is very important in this CAPSIM game. Also, as I mentioned before, let's take a look at the income statement. In the income statement, we can see Team Ari and Irving spend SG&A $30,000 and $43,000, and that's why Team Irving, you need to really take a look if your advertisement marketing is really too much. Sometimes, for example, you need to promote a product and you only need to spend, let's say $2,000, you can get that effect. But you spend $4,000, $5,000, then that's extra $2,000, $3,000 will be unnecessary cost. So Team Ari need to pay attention to this issue as well. Okay, so that's about the financial summary I want to point out. Then next we will take a look of the product analysis. In this chart, I want you guys to pay attention to two things. One is the production that you made, another one is the capacity that your team have. In Team Chester, look, your team have the capacity to 6,000, like really a lot, and then you have this much capacity due to what? Due to the investment for the equipment, for the land, or or how to say, the labor. So you invested a lot. However, look at your production; it's only half. So that will not be good for your team, the company's future long-term run, because we know all the equipment, land, they depreciate. So if you don't use it while you have it, get a full capacity, then it will be extra cost to the company. Okay, so let's see. Then we have Team Chester, Team Ferris, Team Garrett, and Team Jasper. You really need to focus on more on better projection, that your production meet your capacity is the best case scenario. And also I want to point out Team Airy. You have 5,000 here capacity, but your production is 7,000. It will not be really healthy in the long run either. The Team Digby and Airy, because you are overused your capacity here. It may cost more. So the most healthy way is to have the capacity and then have the right production on the spot. Okay, so that's about production analysis. And in plant information, I would say this is the place where you can kind of see other companies' strategy. If you analyze closely what do they do, then you get a general information, and then you will have a better projection if you can sell in a certain market. So let's see. Team Andrew, inventory. Look, you sold out Acer, and Able have 3. So you got the most sell. Units sold, you sell $2,000. You are focusing on Able, and that's I would say pretty good projection that you only have 3 inventory. That means you are right on the spot. And Acer's inventory is 0. That means you can put probably more, because you already sold out this one. And then you really need to focus on more Adam, Aft, Agap, those 3, because you have a lot of inventory here. And it looks like Team Baldwin and Team Digby, Team Airy, and Team Hopper, you have 0 inventory. So that's pretty good. At the same time, it means what? Maybe your projection is too low, and it's all sold out. Then other company will take advantage of you, that certain market. So maybe next time you can project a little bit more. Just having a little bit more inventory left is okay, but not like huge quantity of inventory. So it's really tricky to sell, to find a really ideal spot. And then later on, when we go to the projection, let's see that chart, and then I can tell you guys more how to find the ideal spot. Okay, so let's see, next one. Oh yeah, so the segment analysis, this is what I'm talking about. So in this case, you need to take a look of traditional customer. This is traditional product, the customer buying criteria for this round. Usually, the best place is here within this circle is, and then right here, the darker blue area is the ideal spot, that where you can sell the most. Then let's see, Team Agap, is out of the circle, then we will see you did not stock up, and then you so this product really need to reconsider where you should put the performance and size. And from here we can see team product eat have the best sale. It's sold 2300 product and have really high customer accessibility and customer awareness. And compare from last round, actually this product customer satisfaction has improved a lot. So that's why finding the ideal spot and having a high customer accessibility, customer awareness will help you to sell more. Okay, so this is in a traditional product, and then low end, we can see Team Ivory have the most sale. Then we can see right here, Team Ivory have sold close to 3,000 product here and high accessibility. So that's why we can see Team Irate actually, and also and also the product Jump, yeah, pretty much at the ideal, the most sweet spot in this market segment. So that's why these two teams can see all the teams can stock out or can sell a lot of things, a lot of product here. And we can see, you know, Juice and Able are out of the circle. Then that's why it did not stock out in this case. Then for the team Andrew and product Joyce, you guys need to pay attention to how you can better project those two products in the ideal spot to sell more. Same thing for high-end segment. We can see Baker, Graft are out of the circle, and then the best sweet spot is Echo. You can see it's very close to here, even though it's not the ideal spot, but very close. Then that's why that Echo is the best selling product in this market segment. Okay, so performance, we have again team product edge have the best sell. So once again, when you sell, if you want to sell more, you really need to focus on if customer can access to your product, promotion, customer awareness, customer satisfaction. Those things are very important. And we can see edge. For edge, this product team, Team Airy put $2,400 budget in a promotion. So that's why it actually improves the customer accessibility and promotion and also awareness. And we can see Team Ivory spent $4,500 and it increased customer accessibility and customer awareness. But you can see here Team Airy spent $2,400 and then kind of can reach similar results. So Team Ivory, you may need to think about if you need to adjust those amounts. And also other teams, and look how much your promotion or sales budget for the marketing, then does that mean that you may need to improve or increase a little bit more, then you can sell more in this market. Same as size, those two products are out of the circle, then cannot make a huge sale. Again, you need to focus on positioning, age, service life, and price. Those are the four main criteria you need to focus. Okay, so market share. So from this chart, we can see that Team Aries, those three products are the highest selling, which are high-end, performance, and size. they are dominating the market. Okay, so and also this thing here I want to point out the perceptual map. As we go from round 1 to 8, these perceptual maps will shift from left upper corner to the right corner, like shifting this way, because as time goes, customer always want the best product with lower price and high performance. So that's why this map, it will shift in the right. Okay. And in here is also best place for you to analyze your competitors. What are they doing? You can see their performance, size, and so to analyze their strategy, and then to kind of to implement in your product as well. So you can see, for example, team for this product, and then who are your direct competitors, and you can analyze and see maybe you will have to lower your price a little bit more, or you have to put your product on the market a little bit faster, so those are the places in a product plantation. Also, this chart, you can always see what other teams are doing, and it will help your team to grow. Rest of the industries. Now we are on the industry 2. So let's see. In the financial statistic, we can see that in second industry, Team Baldwin ferries make the most sale, close to $200,000. That's pretty good. At the same time, I want to point out the team Irving have $80,000 sale, which is relatively a little bit low. At the same time, your team get a negative ROS, ROA, and ROE. You need to really pay attention to did you get a good projection, and also focus on the profit, as I mentioned in the previous teams. ROA, ROS, and ROE are pretty important. It's directly impact your team's performance. And also we can see the profit here. It's negative for Team Irvin. You need to really focus on how you spend your money, and also have a better projection. At the same time, your team and Team Andrew run into the emergency loan. So here I just want to point out about why team run into emergency loan. Just in case it happens in a competition round. So emergency loan happens when your company run out of cash. So there are typically 3 reasons this happen. The biggest reason is the inventory that you expected to sell wound up in a warehouse instead. About 70% of the emergency loan falls into this category. And second reason can be that you forgot to fund a major plant improvement. Then you will run out of it will not good for your company's production. Then it will force into 25% of the teams that run into emergency due to this reason. The last reason can be that your profit were so negative that you exceeded your cash reserve. Then about 5% of the teams run into emergency. The emergency loan falls into this category. So in this case, if you run into emergency loan in the future, I hope you all to examine your cash flow statement, which I'm going to cover later, to see the flow of the money in and out. For example, how much you spend on your inventory, and other aspect to better cut down the unnecessary cost, to generate more cash to recover the emergency loan. Okay, so let's see. I mentioned it before. Team Baldwin and Team Ferris did a pretty good job to sell in the market segment. And we can see the sales directly indicate your market size. So Team Baldwin Ferris are in a pretty good shape, not dominating yet, but have pretty huge piece of pie here in the market. So other teams, don't worry that if you catch up on, then have better projection, then you will catch up to find the ideal spot to sell your product, and then you can eventually sell more. So Team Irvin, looks like you guys really need to pay attention to selling your product in the market. Okay, so let's see. In a stock and bond, as I mentioned in the previous video, book value, EPS, dividend are all important in your stock price. So we can see Team Baldwin giving dividends, and other teams start giving some. It will, share some profit to your stockholders. Let's see. Team Baldwin have the highest price here in a pretty good shape. However, I want to point out Team Irvin again, that your company really need to focus on the profitability and things, so that your stockholders will start investing in your company. And let's see, in the financial summary, I want to point out that I didn't point out in previous industry one, is that the depreciation that we can see, if you invested in your equipment, plant, and other things, it will depreciate. So you will need to really focus on using your capacity that you build, and then to so that as your equipment depreciate, you are making profit quickly on that. And then we have the inventory. Team Irvin need to focus on better projection again, so that you can sell more. Okay, so that you don't stock up all your inventories and other things in the balance. Okay, that one. Okay, so we come to product analysis. We can see that you guys have done pretty good job having the production and capacity kind of pair each other, and we can see a couple team like a Team Baldwin, Chester, and Ferris have produced more on top of their capacity. It can due to many reasons. In these slides, I'm gonna show you that plenty information. Let's see, the team, Ferris, Baldwin, and Chester. Team Baldwin added. So many of you have added the second shift, the overtime. Then it will have more production. Then that can happen. Your plant utilization is more. So let's see, this was out. Okay, so many of you have a second shift. At the same time, I want to point out the automation. Automation is how fast that or how your industry use the auto production. It directly impacted how fast you can produce your product on the market to the market, so you can get more sales. Some of the team have low, production automation, so you need to focus on investing more on those products so you can sell product faster. Some of the product have automation like 7, then of course that'd be really great. And I can see here some of the team don't have second shift, that's fine, but some of the team already utilizing their resources, adding more shift like team ferries and team Baldwin. So, and plant utilization, I want to say that some of your product is not fully utilizing all the space or equipment. Then remember I mentioned before depreciation. It's not really good choice that to not fully utilize the plant. So like these two product and like 70, 60. So that's really not good, because then those will eat up your cash that you invested. And we have team Airy fully utilized. So again, you need to focus on better like a projection so that you are not wasting your resources. So we come to the traditional segment analysis. Look like Team Ferry have the most sales in this market, and Team Ferry we have Fast. Fast and Baker have really good sale and good customers awareness, customer accessibility, and customer satisfaction. And hopefully over the 8th round, customer satisfaction will improve, awareness, accessibility will definitely improve. And I also want to point out these 3 products, EBB, Food, and IOTA, are out of the circle. Then of course your product may well stock out like a food, right? So again, find the ideal spot in the certain market is very important. And in low end, we have many teams hit on target, and you're all within this circle, and that means that have pretty good. Most of the product will have pretty good sales in here. And let's see, we have the high end. See, in high end product product able, eat are far out of the circle. Then we can come here, able and eat. Then you can see those two are not really selling a lot. These 2 product in here. Okay, so in this part, some of the product from different market segment sold in this market, so that can happen too. And let's see, next one we have performance. That's pretty good, looks pretty good. And okay, looks like most of you guys are pretty good at the promotion budget, not really spending excessive promotion budget. Then that's good projection, because in other teams that I find have put about 4,000 5,000 here, then that's really too much. But we can see that with this much of budget we can reach here, but if maybe increase a little bit more, then we'll reach to more customers accessibility and awareness. Okay, so that's the product size and market share. I want to say that your industry looks pretty um, good. Like some of the Team Baldwin and Ferris may be selling more uh, altogether in the whole market, but looks like every one of you have done pretty good job in selling your product. It's pretty average. There's no like really a lot more and less. Team Aries looks like your team have more traditional focus on more traditional, and then high-end performance is lower. That is fine, but if you want to focus on certain product or certain market, you need to really do a lot of promotions and make your product stand out if you want to focus these three. Okay, so once again, this perceptual map, the um, whole picture will shift to the right down corner, and you need to see that. See if you're in a some of the product are floating, not really in some of the um, market segment. So I would say the best projection is on the idea, the dark blue place. Those products will sell really good in those market segments. So make sure you have a good projection for your product. Okay, so now let's come to industry 3. In this industry, we have team, let's see, team Baldwin sales have the most sale, and the team Garrett Garrett have a low sales, um, and also team Garrett and team Hopper have negative ROS, ROA, and ROE. So as I mentioned before, you need to focus more on your profit, and then did you utilize the plant equipment fully, and also did you spend extra money on the unnecessary things, like see the SG&A to sales ratio, you guys are pretty high, then you probably need to cut unnecessary cost to improve your profit. Okay, so that's about that. And as I mentioned before, yes, let's see, Team Andrew have pretty good. Andrew, Baldwin, Digby have all above 13% of the market share. See those pie, those okay, and Chester is pretty good too so far. Are eating the almost these 4 teams are dominating more than half of the pie. So the rest of the teams, Team Ari, Ferris, Garrett, Hopper, and Irving, you guys need to focus more on um, more more sales so that you can dominate the market. Okay, so stock and bond, team Jasper, let's see, and also team Hopper. You guys really need to focus on though your stock price is $2. Um, let's see, team Hopper. Yeah, team Hopper, because at the same time your profit is negative um, as well, and team Garrett the having a negative profit. So team Garrett and then um, team Hopper really need to focus on how you can improve your company's sales based on the strategies that you pick. Okay. And on this slide, the inventory, we have, let's see, inventory. Once again, Team Hopper, maybe the low, let's see, the projection need to be better, like it here. And then Team Digby, you guys need to focus here, okay? And Team Airy have really huge quantity of the product wound up in the warehouse. So projection is important, okay? And then we have, okay, so at the product analysis, we can see that Team Digby production is pretty strong here, and the capacity is about here, and then later on we can analyze what happened in Team Digby is really good, or is anything we can learn from it. And then you guys have done pretty good job, like the rest of the team. You stay on target with your capacity. You are not really not fully utilize your capacity. However, I want to point out, just a little bit, to be a little bit cautious, the Team Hopper here, that you have a capacity here, but your production did not meet, your capacity. That means you are wasting some of the resources that you have built. And we can come here, as I mentioned before, Team Digby is the way over their production is due to that they have the second shift, the overtime for most of the product. And we can also see that Team Digby have pretty high automation here, and also one of these teams, Team Baldwin, have automation close to 9.8. That's really fantastic automation. So automation means what is that it will help you to automate to make the product and then make it faster and lower cost. So of course, the higher the automation, the better. It will lower your cost. And like what I mentioned before, some of the teams like Team Hopper, you really need to focus on, did you really fully use all your capacity? Otherwise, it will depreciate. Then it will, lower your profit. Okay. So now we come to market, different market segment analysis. Once again, when you look at debrief, I want you to see whether your product is really at the ideal spot. Then you can, so that you can have a better projection. Here I want to point out is, for example, Team Baldwin, their promotion budget spent this much, and then they raised customer accessibility to 75 and customer wellness to 100. So that could be the number that the rest of the team that maybe you think need to improve some of your marketing expense, so that your product will be accessible or increase the customer awareness and satisfaction. Let's see, Team Chester spent $2,500 on each product, so close to similar effect here. So I would say you need to really consider how much market you want to promotion you want to put into. So same as low end, some of your teams pick the strategy that is focused on low end. So if you are the team doing that, then you will have to really make sure the price is low. Price can be low, and also the age can be longer. It's different from the high end. High end customers, they are looking for high quality and then really fast age, because those fast high-ended product are really change really fast, like iPhone. Every year we change to a different generation. So those are the things that you need to pay attention, like the performance and size. Really need to have a good estimation. High end, as I mentioned, if you are the team focused on the high end strategy, then looks like Team Baldwin is going that route, and see their product beat is right on spot. It's right on spot, and also seed is pretty good. Let's see what's happened to seed. Okay, so for team seeds, Chester, you may look at closer about your budget guideline here, and also Digby, like, did you really spend too much on the promotion? Well, it's your decision, but I just want to point out that sometimes you really need to cut down your SG&A costs so that you have more profit. Performance, same as before. Look like some of your teams are focusing on that. And let's see, size. Look like a Team Baldwin, you guys still have more potential in this market. So what you need to do is to maybe have a more projection, because you actually sold this, but you still can sell more here. If you did not really have a good projection, then all this goes to other teams. Then you lose the big chance to make more sales and profit. Okay. So as I analyzed it before, look like Team Baldwin is really emphasizing on taking big chunk of the high-end product, and other teams are pretty much on average. Again, at the end of the video, I will explain the 6 strategies to you. As a team, you need to know what direction you go to. If you're trying to grab everything that you want, it will not happen that way, or it will spread out all your energies. So having a good strategy is very important. Okay. So let's see. Again, I explained before perceptual maps, how it works, moving to the down right, and analyze other teams. Strategy is important. Take a look into details what they do. Knowing your competitors will really help you to grow, right? So you know what they're doing, and then you can try to find the strategies to beat them, better projections to get better market. So last we'll look at the industry 4 here. As I mentioned before, here ROS, ROA, these 3 teams, you guys need to pay attention. Andrew, Baldwin, and Digby. You need to know really what's happened here. You probably need to cut some cost or have better projection, especially Team Digby. Look like your sales is relatively low compared to other teams. Then you need to increase your capacity at the same time, meet that capacity to produce the product to sell, and then in the market take a big to take a place in the market. And Team Garrett have the most sales in the second round. Let's see. The profit is positive. So in Team Garrett is in a pretty good shape. Team Harper, Irene, Ferris, Ari, and Chester are in a pretty good shape, since those rates are positive, and also the sales was okay. Just try to improve more when in the competition round. Okay, so who is getting the biggest pie here? Team Garrett again. Associated with sales, right? Team Garrett is getting the biggest sale in here, and Team Baldwin and Iron and other teams are getting a piece of the pie. So Team Digby really, again, your sales and your market is not in good position. So in a competition round, make sure what are the strategies you need to do to improve sales is important here. And once again, your sales, your performance is related to your stock market. Team Baldwin, let me see. Team Baldwin. Okay, let's see. Team Baldwin looks doing okay, but why the stock market here, the price is low. So what you guys need to do is to maybe increase the stock market to generate some of the cashes for your production. And also, again, it's a problem when in a real competition round, because all your rest of the teams are in some kind of higher price. Okay, so in this slides I want to point out the team Andrew. Okay, that's probably one of the reasons why you have the negative ROA ROE rate. At the same time, you run into the emergency loan, if I remember correctly. Yes. So one of the problems, as I mentioned before, yes, close to 70% of the teams who runs into emergency loan because they have huge inventory cost. See, if you cannot sell this year's product, then it's stock in the inventory. It's taking places to stock them. So that's why you have to have extra cost. So make sure you have good projection, then that you can sell product based on your capacity and your production. Okay. Let's see. Next one I want to point out is Team Garrett. Looks like most of you guys, your team's doing okay. Andrew, Baldwin, Chester, Ari, Ferris, and Irene, Jasper, yeah, are doing okay. The two teams I want to point out, one is Digby. Again, you did not fully utilize your capacity, okay? You only made probably half the production. So again, in the production side, you need to have better projection. And Team Garrett, you need to improve your capacity to produce more, because invest in the capacity will really help you guys go a long run. Team Garrett could be, let's take a look closer here. So Team Garrett, let's see, Team Garrett, yeah, you guys have fully utilized the let's see, this is second shift. Yeah, the reason why Team Garrett have more production than the capacity is because most of their product are having second shift, and I see most of your teams don't have that. I mean, again, it's your team's strategy. I just point out you can do that, or you don't want to do that, because second shift will be extra cost as well. And one of the good things Team Garrett having is pretty good automation here for some of the product. And as I mentioned before, if you did not fully utilize all your plant like a Team Digby, that's going to be really big problem, because all your equipment will depreciate and then it will be extra cost. Okay, so traditional look like Team Iron is the selling the most in a traditional market, and if that's gonna be your focus, then you need to really have better production and also sales. Let's see, you put sales budget this amount and reached customer accessibility to and also awareness. That's pretty good. So and most of the product in traditional are within the circles that's pretty healthy. And low end, so Team Digby or Team Baldwin, you can see that you still have pretty good potential to sell, but you're already stocked out. Then next time you probably need to have a more projection, maybe try to sell more or produce more to meet the market demand. Otherwise, this potential part will be taken over by other teams. High end, we have, so look like Team Airy is focusing on the high end market. So if you are choosing that strategy, then you need to really focus on the high end. Still have some potential here. If you can reach that, that'd be great. Okay. So for the performance, we have Team Baldwin, Garrett, Chester are the three big player here, but other teams, don't worry. If you are really focusing on performance, then you need to just find the best strategy here. Team size, again, Baldwin, I want to point out, used to have a huge potential here. Hopper, huge potential in this market. So from this market shares chart, we can see again Team Airy focusing on the high end. Traditional Team Airy have some significant amount of sales. So again, your strategy is one very important. Okay, so I have discussed this part before, so let's see if I can pull out the user's guide for you guys here. So at the end of this video, I know it's pretty long video for you guys to watch, but I want you guys to see in the user guide. If you don't have that, let me know. Email me. I'll send this to you. Make sure you read the scoring part because it will tell you what are the aspects that CapSim expect from you. What are the areas and also the strategies. Remember, you all have to submit a pre-strategy report. Then you really need to focus on either one or two strategies so that your team can kind of have the strong, unique position in the whole market. Well, sometimes if you say, okay, I don't want any strategy, I just focus on all the market. As I mentioned before, it's just really difficult. You cannot get everything you want in every market. So you will have some strategy to guide you through. So let's take a look at the strategy part. So there are 6 basic strategies: broad cost leader, broad differentiator, okay, niche cost leader, niche differentiator, cost leader, differentiator with a product life cycle focus. So read it through and find the ones that fit your team the most. So thank you very much for listening to this debriefing. If you have any question, please feel free to email me, and I will try my best to tell you what are the things your team need to focus or improve. Again, thank you.